I tell you that other one time was the time. You got it already.
Hello, welcome to Rumbii. I'm your host, Rumbii. If you're new here, this is a diary style podcast where I share my experiences, specifically my experiences with my mental health and just navigating adulthood. Because, like most of us have realized, every adult is making it up as we go along. And so I hope that this space is a safe space for us to share what's going on, what's happening in life. And by us, I mean you and I. You are welcome to share. If you'd like to have a chat with me and get involved in this podcast, DM me on our Instagram page at Rumbii Pod. Maybe you'll be a guest. Who knows? It'll be really, really nice to have you here. So, really, this podcast is an extension of me. Everything that I talk about, I write in my diary. And obviously, I don't talk about everything, but my main focus is my mental health because it's something that I've learned that I need to prioritize and I have prioritized for the last few years of my life. And I feel as though it's important that we talk about it, especially within the Black community, because not many of us talk about it. And when we do talk about it, it's always when crisis has hit or things have gone bad or unfortunately someone is no longer with us and we're talking about it as a consequence of that. So I think it's important that while we're still all here, alive and well and kicking, laughing, cracking jokes, that's the best time to talk about mental health because it will come in handy for the moments we need it. So I've actually had a good week. This week has been really good. I think it's coming off the back of last week, which was also a good week. I feel good within myself. Like I did say, the sun is out, and I think the summer is truly here because over the weekend I went to the cottage for the first time, and it was just nice to be on a lake. Our cottage is on Wolf Lake, so it's quite a bit away from Ottawa. It's about 2 hours away, and so you really do feel very disconnected. And the lot is right at the end of the road, so it's very private and quiet, and I'm always surprised at how good I feel after having been there. And so summer is officially here because the cottage is open. We only have it open in the cottage in the summers. We can go in the winter, but it's just a pain because the roads are not plowed and it takes so long. It takes so long to like warm up. I went there for my honeymoon in 2020. So we got married on October 30th and then we did our honeymoon there because it was still locked down here in Canada, so we couldn't really like go away anywhere. And we thought it would be nice to just have some time alone and go there. It was actually a really nice time. Really enjoyed it. But it was November. It wasn't even that cold. We didn't even get that much snow. I don't think there was any snow. But it was so cold that it took like 13 hours for the entire cottage to like warm up. So yeah, I can imagine if I went there in January, it will be a long day, a very long day. Although it'll be very beautiful. I'd love to see the lake frozen. So I'll make sure to go in the winter sometime. And I'll make sure to vlog it. You guys can see it on my YouTube channel. But it was just really nice being out there. The whole family was supposed to be there, but my sister-in-law and her husband mistook the dates and there was a little bit of confusion. So we ended up just being me, my husband, our dog, and my mother-in-law, which was really nice. Got to just like chat and eat and hang out and figure out what work needs to be done up there because there definitely is a little work to do. Okay, so this episode is more of like a random episode, and by that I mean I'm just going to talk off the cuff. Usually, I structure my episode by doing some research and I start the episode off by giving you guys an update of what's going on with my life. And then I throw in something regarding mental health or what I'm going through at that time that can be sort of like a teachable moment for all of us. I learned something, you learned something, and by the end of the episode, we've all grown somehow. But random episodes don't really have that kind of structure. I just kind of off the cuff talk about the things that are going on in my mind and what's going on in my life, what I'm looking forward to, what I'm excited about. So here we are. Today is a random episode. I am very excited for the summer. It's the first summer that I haven't had to plan my wedding. Speaking of, I had 3 weddings and I think I ever spoke about it on here. So I figured I'll give you guys a kind of explanation as to why my husband and I have three wedding dates and three wedding anniversaries, I guess. So I'm Zimbabwean. I'm sure you guys already know that. And so part of my culture is that you have to do a traditional marriage. In Zimbabwe, we call it Rora, depending on what part of the country you're from. Other parts of the country call it Lobola. It's really the same thing. It basically means it's a dowry that a man has to pay when you marry somebody's daughter. So because of that, that was our first wedding. And it was such a fun time. We had it at my mom's house. So many people showed up, and it was just so nice to know that so many people were supporting our union and so excited for us. So it was a great time. One of the best parties of my life. And then the second wedding was what I mentioned, the October wedding in 2020. So we had initially planned our white wedding to be here in Canada in July of 2020 because we did a compromise, right? We did the Rora in England and we were planning to move to Canada anyway. So we thought it would be better to do the wedding over here. It was also cheaper because when you look at the conversion rate, planning a wedding in pounds was going to be way more expensive than planning a wedding in Canadian dollars. And so it just made sense. And I just want to point out, I just want to say this. Thank you so much to all our parents who funded this wedding. We put in like the vendors and like a little bit that we could. We did. But for the most part, our parents paid for it. And I feel very lucky and very blessed and very privileged to have parents who are willing to do that for us. Because I understand not everybody has that privilege. So with that, the wedding was planned for July 2020, and obviously the pandemic happened. So we're like, I don't think this is happening. So we had to postpone, and we actually ended up postponing it like 3 times. That's why we had the wedding in 2023. So we moved to Canada, in September of 2020. And while we were doing the whole move, it was crazy. It was hectic. It was chaos. And then we finally got here, and we're kind of just like looking at each other thinking everything we've planned over the last 5 years of our lives, we've executed except for the wedding. And at this point, our postponement was for July of 2021. And the way things were looking, especially with Canada and its strict COVID rules, we didn't have as much freedom as most countries did. A lot of countries came out of lockdown a lot sooner than us. And I think we had 2 extra lockdowns than most people. So it took a while. I think our final lockdown sort of like ended around like May time of 2021. So with that in mind, we're like, yeah, I don't think it's safe yet to be gathering people together, especially with knowing that we had families coming from all over the world, and people are spending so much money on this wedding just to be a guest. So we didn't want to like rush it, we wanted to make sure that the venue we spent so much time figuring out and like choosing will actually be fully experienced by our guests, because we had this really open venue where you were open to just like walk around. There was so much greenery. We had like 2 ponds that you could like walk across and stuff like that. So it was really nice to have that for our guests, and I wanted them to have that experience. So we're like, let's just get married. Like, let's just get it done. Like, let's just do the legal part, because that's the only part we hadn't done yet. And also with me moving here, things were getting a little bit complicated because, again, with the lockdowns, I didn't really need to be in Canada because I didn't have a job offer. Because, again, pandemic, no one was really offering immigrants jobs at the time. And I was only here because I was common law partners with my husband. We weren't legally married yet. So in my mind, it was kind of like, you know what, let's just legalize this so that if there are any like logistics to like settling into the country, we don't get separated. I know they wouldn't separate common law partnerships, but I wasn't sure, I was worried, I was concerned. And you know what? Dean was down with me. So we spoke to our venue, and luckily they were like, you know what, since we've postponed you, come, we'll do the wedding for free. And it was so cute. It was just the 10 of us. all of Dean's immediate family and myself, and we did everyone else on Zoom. And apparently it was a great time. Everybody who tells me about that Zoom, people dressed up, people were getting drunk, like they had so much fun in that. And I kind of have FOMO that I missed out on that, but it was really nice that everybody all over the world, including people who probably wouldn't have been able to even make it to the wedding in the first place, were able to actually be there on our day. So it was special in its own way. And so naturally, with COVID and like the vaccines hadn't been made yet, and things were not very like clear about our international guests. So we postponed it again. We postponed it, and they gave us 2022, but we're like, no, let's just throw it as far back as possible, because I didn't want to have any issues with like different countries having like different COVID laws. So I wanted to just make sure that we were in the clear and people can travel freely with no stress. And that's exactly how it worked out, because there was no longer like COVID screenings. You didn't have to do COVID tests, that kind of thing. So it did work out in the end. And so, yeah, we were able to finally have our reception last summer. It was so much fun. It was such a great day. I loved it. So, yeah, we have 3 wedding anniversaries, and it kind of works out for us because we get to pick and choose which one we want to celebrate at what time of the year. I do have this dream of throwing Halloween parties, because Halloween is one of my favorite holidays, my husband and I, because it's just so silly, you know? Listen, to anyone who thinks that Halloween is evil and there's evil things happening in there, that's you, innit? That's on you. Maybe that's your experience. Maybe that's what you've seen and been around. Maybe those are the rooms you're in. But I myself have never been in no devil worshipping building. Like that ain't me. So anybody who feels that way about Halloween, that's on you. We celebrate Halloween here. We love candy. My nieces absolutely love it. We dress up for them, and I have this like dream of like having annual Halloween parties that double as our anniversary party. But it's really hard to find people who just love to dance. That's one thing I miss about England. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Britain is a very musical country. And I mean in the sense that the regular people, like, we play music all the time. Like, music is always around us. And not only that, we dance to music. And that's like my favorite thing about living in England. Like, you go to the pub, after a couple of bevs, everyone is like shoulder shimmying, the tables have moved, you know, like everyone's always down for a boogie. I mean, this is no shade to any of my Canadian friends or anyone that I know here in Canada, but the amount of times I've been to a party or an event and there's music playing and we're all just sitting around, I'm like, come on, guys. Come on, let's dance. Do you know, I actually had in my bedroom growing up, I had a sign on my wall that said no standing, only dancing. And I'm currently trying to figure out how to get that as a neon sign, and I'll put it on my wall in my apartment, because why do we just sit around? If you're Canadian, can you please comment? Like, if you're watching this on YouTube or anywhere else, you can DM me on Instagram at RumbeePod. Why is it that when you're at parties, you guys just sit around and drink? Because I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to shoulder shimmy. I'm trying to learn something from you. I'm trying to teach you some dances. But people just sit around. I've only been to 2 events that people danced to the point where like sweat was dripping down their faces. One was a Mexican wedding. Shout out to Bride and Galia. You guys' wedding? Oh, lit. Second was a birthday party. Whose birthday party was it? Natasha. Shout out to you, girl. I don't know if you listen to this podcast, but Natasha's birthday party, like, I was the DJ. I ended up being the DJ because everybody was just so focused on the dancing. I was like, let's keep this going. Let's keep adding some more songs to this. And everybody had a great time. I had a great time. Those are the only like 2 instances. I mean, obviously my wedding, like, I turned up, but I don't have memory of that because I was too drunk. But my point here still remains. People don't dance in the city. Even when I've gone out clubbing, oh, wait. Wait. I think I'm speaking in absolutes. Let me turn it down. Let's bring it back. Okay. I don't want to create a blanket statement that will make people not want to visit Ottawa. I just want to point out that the rooms and spaces that I've been in the 3.5 years that I've lived here, not many people dance. And so I'm still looking. I haven't given up. I'm still looking. But I just wanted to point out, I have been gay clubs still dance. And I feel like they're the only nightclubs where people still dance. I spent a couple of New Years at our local gay bar and everybody in there dances to the point where it's like, you need to like burst out of the building just to go get some fresh air, right? Because you just in it. And that's what I want. That's what I want. You know, that like, you know, that scene from The Matrix where everyone's just like sexy dancing in the like, oh my gosh. I just had another thought. Let me, this is what happens when we do a random, okay? In case you're wondering what it's like to have a chat with me, my brain is always just like, oh, and then this, and then this, and then this. But you know that scene in The Matrix, right? Everyone's dancing and like just going for it. That's how I want to turn up. That's how I want to party. And I think when I look back at like all the parties that I've thrown in the past, that's what makes them a good party, where everyone is just vibing. And I'm trying to find more people like that so that I can throw this annual Halloween party. Anyway, the brain fart. Let's go back to it. When I was talking about the Matrix dancing, don't you think it's weird how these lot are literally like dystopian world fighting like the higher power, like fighting this system that's like got them trapped in this world, but they still got time to turn up. Listen, I'm here for it. If that's what it's like being a rebel, then I'm down. Let's fight the system, man. Maybe that's why capitalism is still a thing, because we haven't had enough dance parties. That's what brings us together. Honestly, when we do protests and rallies, we should start with a dance-off where everybody just dances. And I feel like through that, we'll all come to a resolution. Let them have a dance battle. Whoever wins is the winner. It's election year in America this year. Instead of elections, because they get rigged, right? Instead of elections, get those candidates on the stage. B-boy style. Just throw in different styles of dancing. See who wins. That's the president. Honestly, I've solved it, guys. I've completely solved it. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. This episode was a quick one. I just wanted to have a little chat with you guys. Let you know where I'm at. I'm having a good week. My mental health is improving. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited how the summer is going to go. I need to plan it. That's one thing I've noticed. Canadians plan their summers like crazy. So I need to like get to business, because if you don't plan your summers, you then get stuck in everybody else's plans. And that's not fun, because after about 3 weeks, you feel like you're just doing things for other people and not for yourself. So I need to plan that out, figure out what I'm doing this summer. And yeah, I hope that you stay awesome, be kind, and spread positivity.
Rumbee's podcast. Rumbee's podcast. Yeah. Rumbee's podcast. What? Rumbee's podcast. Hey. Rumbee's podcast. This is Rumbee's podcast. What? Rumbee's podcast. Yeah. Rumbee's podcast. Oh yeah.
I'll tell you that little one time was the time. You got it already.